Good morning.
Good morning.
Guten Morgen miteinander.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lucas. Good morning, Katrina.
Hi,
Hello.
guys.
Good morning, and good morning, everybody who is tuning in. Ask a Recruiter, episode number 4. Today we have a special one for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because we are talking about branding in recruitment as a recruiter. Okay, so some of the other sessions have been a bit more focused towards candidates, and this one is really focused towards us as recruiters, so our recruiter network, and talking about branding and the how-tos. So that's the first reason why it's special. And the second reason why it's special is because it's not just me and Lucas this time. We have also the lovely Katrina joining us this morning. So thank you so much, Katrina.
I can't do it. It's like this. Oh, yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, exactly.
Happy to be here.
So as a quick introduction, though you all know me, or should know me, Lee, the owner of We Recruit. We find great people who find great people. So recruiting recruiters for the Swiss landscape. Lucas, you should all know by now, and if you don't, connect to him, check him out, check out lucastraining.ch. Lucas has almost 10 years of experience in recruitment. He is doing crazy content videos, helping out people understand how to find jobs and lots of different things. So check out lucastraining.ch. And then we have Katrina, who joins us today. Katrina has many years of experience in recruitment, also in content and media website creation, which is why it's great to have her as a bit more of the techie on the session today, certainly the creative one. And for those that would have seen over the last half a year, We Recruit and my business and these Ask a Recruiters and these shows have massively upped our game when it comes to content creation, the videos, the thumbnails, the posts going out. And the person responsible for doing that is Katrina. So she's been working with us, creating the videos like this intro you see, doing a fantastic job of helping us get our brand out there and position ourselves. So if you are in recruitment, own a recruitment company, would like some help on content creation, things like that, get in touch with Katrina. Yeah, I mean, basically today I get asked a lot of questions. I'm sure Lucas does as well about, how do you have time to do all of this content creation? Where do you get the ideas from? What content should I post? Where do I even start? What is a personal brand? And that's what we wanted to get on today to address with you all. Just a quick snippet from you guys. What is a personal brand?
Well, a personal brand, as the name says, I mean, in the end, it's a brand. What is a brand? To me, I can only give you my own personal answer. I'm not an expert in this, but to me, a brand is like a person. So it's like a character. So let's say if we have the brand of Apple, let's say, it's something like a creative person to me, like a person that is very, very creative and somehow, like the stuff like with creativity. So I have a creative person in mind that I picture when I hear the word Apple, or when I hear maybe, let's say, BMW, then I have that picture in mind of an engineer who's very precise in what he's doing. So I think this is a brand. It's like a persona in general. And if we're talking about the personal brand, it's finding that persona within you, like what are you standing for, and then try to communicate that to the outside.
Perfect, thanks. And what would you like to add, Katrina?
Yeah, I mean, I see it the same way. It's like your personal brand is actually you. That's the root of your brand, you, and of course how other people see you, and everything what you bring, your experience, your character, your values, and that's the base.
If we talk about recruiters and personal brand, I think there's this expression we hear a lot: people buy from people. and candidates and clients engage with an individual. Yes, they engage to a certain extent with the company and the organization that the person is working for, but ultimately they're engaging with the individual. And I think it's so important as a recruiter to have a personal brand, to invest and develop your personal brand, and to make sure that that reflects who you are. And I think that there's a lot of things that you can achieve and accomplish with that. And that slides us really nicely into the next question that I have, and that's, what do you want to accomplish with your personal brand?
Well, in recruiting, of course, it's attracting nice people, but I think that's not my primary my primary goal. My primary goal is to get to know people at first. To me, it's networking, it's relationship building. I think that's the most important thing. And then, of course, in a second step, it's attracting good quality experts. I would say that's the goal for me when I am talking about my personal brand.
And what about you, Katrina? What do you want to accomplish with your personal brand, being a mixture of recruiter, content creator?
I want to reach people. I want to inspire people with my content. I want to inspire them to create. I want to add value, of course. Not everyone is confident. Not everyone not for everyone it's easy to just step in front of the camera or put some posts out there. So it needs a lot of confidence.
What I personally want to accomplish, we'll talk about afterwards the goal of a personal brand for a recruiter. Me personally, it's a huge part about trying to give back. I think that I have a lot of knowledge that can help people out, help people understand how they can find an easier route to getting a job. I'm trying to raise awareness about how recruiters can be and what they can do, and that not every recruiter is the same, to give a platform for recruiters. I think also from a personal point of view, I'm trying to show that I'm a very approachable person, that people can reach out to me, that they can ask for help, to remove any perception that you may get from a LinkedIn profile or from a website, to be authentic and say, hey, I'm here, come talk to me, come engage with me. But I think a big part of my driver and goal is about being a positive promoter of recruiters. I think I've talked about that a lot in previous sessions as well, but really to say, hey, we don't have to be just this 0815, bog standard recruiter, just recruiting. There's a lot that we can do around when it comes to developing personal brand, and a lot of benefits for that.
Yeah, Lee, you just inspired me. Another answer that I could give to this question is to build trust. People, they already know you, they already know who Lee is or who Lucas is, and they're kind of, okay, it's that guy, it's the guy with the vest and
that's part of my personal brand, the waistcoat.
Exactly, and you already know, the people, let's say from LinkedIn or from videos or from talks like the ones we are having here, and there's already a little bridge that has already been built, and it's easier to pass that bridge and and hit one of us up. It's a very good thing just to build the trust with the person.
To deepen relationships.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot to be said about producing content and these kind of things. I like to think of it as well, almost like a cold call. If I make a cold call to a company to a recruitment company in Switzerland, I'd like to think that at least 50% of them would already know who I am just from the content and things that I'm creating. So I'm already planting seeds, adding value, doing things to position myself that when I call, and it happens with Katarina as well, when she calls and with her series Coffee with Kata, and people say, yeah, okay, I saw Coffee with Kata. It already gives people an impression about who you are. It's much easier to present yourself, to sell yourself, to sell your services. So that's what we're looking to accomplish. And thanks, Sebastian. Exactly, the guy with the waistcoat.
Exactly. That's the word.
The waistcoat came from two things. One was because I lost a lot of weight, and before I didn't wear waistcoats because I didn't feel so comfortable in them. And secondly, about a brand. But and so let's then jump into the next question. So we touched a couple of points there, but ultimately, if you had to sum it up in a sentence or two, what's the goal of a personal brand for a recruiter?
What we're trying to achieve is, of course, to build up a network and to build up relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So, because as a recruiter, it's not even, I have to be careful of what I'm saying, because a lot of people have this feeling you have to put out content like crazy and you have to connect with everybody, you know, but it's actually not like this. It's more important that it's like what you post and what you give to your network is like, it's true and it's valuable to them, and you don't have to like post every day, or you don't have to feel the pressure of being like on social media all the time. It's just more about building your relations, building your network, showing what you can, what your experience are in recruitment, you know, what is your niche, what are you working on right now. I think this is the goal, that people can see you, clients, candidates can see you, they remember you, and then you will work with them. And also for the future, I mean, you might change your employer, you might change your work, your company, but you can take your personal brand with you. That's the cool thing. So
absolutely. Yeah. What do you think, Lucas?
Yeah, totally agree. And in the end, of course, as we said before, it's about attracting the right people, so that you really speak to the people you want to speak to, that they get your message, that they trust in you, and then that they finally contact you. So for me as a recruiter, I think that's the most important thing in the end.
It's for me, I would say briefly, it's positioning. It's about trying to position yourself as the go-to person for your niche. Top of mind awareness. I think that has to be a huge thing, right? When I like to think that if somebody thinks, okay, I need a recruiter, whether it's an agency, executive search, or in-house, they think of We Recruit, they think of Lee, they think of Katarina, they think of Katrina. You know, that is the first thing that comes, and that's kind of I think a big part of the goal of a personal brand, top of mind awareness. I think it's also about adding value to people, helping people out. It's what I said before about they know who you are even before you call. So it's like doing a cold call or turning a cold call into a warm call. And of course, attracting clients and candidates. And I think you can't underestimate how much that can actually, how much you can do through personal brand content, how many clients will approach you, how many candidates will approach you, because you're standing out, you're doing something different, you know?
When I had, you know, like the very, very high frequency of posting my videos, I really had times when I was calling up HR and I was like, hi, here's Lucas. And they were like, oh, hi, Lucas, it's you. They didn't know me before.
That's cool, yeah.
That was really a cool thing. So it really builds that bridge. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, imagine that. People know who you are when you make a cold call to somebody. That's such a huge advantage.
They're like, you know, like they were kind of joyful. They were happy that I was calling. It's like, oh, cool, it's you. So when is the next video coming? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe
knowing you tomorrow.
That was so cool. That was a good time. I can really
good icebreaker. Yeah, very cool.
It's a good icebreaker. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. People already then, you know, again, people already have a perception of who you are as a person and what you do, because they've seen some of your content, and you know, you don't need to maybe include as much in the sales pitch or in the elevator pitch as somebody else would, you know. So
exactly.
But at the same time, you know, personal branding is not only about producing content and visibility, right? I mean, there's that's one part of it, and a very important part. But I think there's a lot of other things behind which go towards that. I mean, yeah, Katrina, what do you think? What else is there out there? It's not just about posting, right?
No, definitely not. I mean, it's still, I mean, social media is still something very young, something very fresh. But I mean, when you were a teenager, you also, when you were going to school, you were already creating your personal brand by like thinking about what to wear, how to present yourself, what topics you could talk about with your friends and like you already create a personal brand, and that's what you can put out there as well. A lot of my clients who are like, oh no, that means now I have to post all the time, I have to be on Instagram. It's not about that. Not everyone has to be an influencer. I don't like to be in front of the camera. It's very awkward for me, but I love to be on the phone with people and talk to them in person, and it's also my personal brand. It has nothing to do with social media.
First, I think this distinction is very, very important that you just mentioned, Katrina. So, we automatically think of social media when we hear the word personal brand. And I mean, it's just one part of building up a personal brand. It doesn't have to be social media at all. I couldn't agree more with you. It's absolutely true. My example is the company I'm working for, Rockstar Recruiting. We're almost to non-existent on social media. We never post anything. We don't have an Instagram account, nothing. From time to time, we post a little something like a picture when we had the AI Center event on Friday, or when we had a panel where we had a nice talk with tech experts on Tuesday. We do a little post. We have almost like no reach there. But our business works fantastic, and we have built a very, very strong personal brand because we are present in real life. We are,
it's like recommendation,
exactly.
Recommendation marketing,
Exactly.
That's also a part
That's
of it.
Yes. Yeah, recommendation marketing. We don't need social media. And I think that's very important also for people here who are listening now. You don't need social media. If you don't like it, don't do it. You don't have to be an influencer. Totally agree with Katrina there. That's my thought. Yeah.
I think it's not only that. The way that I see it when it comes to personal brand, I mean, yes, there's obviously the real life scenarios, the online scenarios, but it's in the everyday activities and actions that we take as a recruiter. Making sure that everybody that writes to you gets a response, making sure that you update and give a response to your candidates, making sure that you give feedback when somebody has been rejected for a process as much as you have. Saying I have no feedback is still feedback, or the client didn't give me any feedback is still a feedback. And towards the clients, I always said to my consultants in the past, every CV you send is like a business card. That's your personal brand. The quality of that CV, the quality of the content you put on the cover sheet, that is also your personal brand. There's so many different areas. The advice that you give to people, even when maybe it's not asked, but you offer advice, that you give someone constructive criticism on their CV, this is all coming around to being part of your personal brand. It's not just about content and visibility, but that's what obviously gives you the biggest reach, let's say.
Yeah. Every piece of communication in the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've had a question come in. Let me just, from Sharanya, let me just bring this up. So with companies attaching more significance to cultural fit, how does one navigate when personal brand does not match the cultural fit of an organization for a recruiter or an employee even?
Yeah, sure. I mean, probably you will not fit. I mean, that's kind of a risk that you are willing to take. If you clearly position yourself, it's always excluding other stuff. So it can happen that the company says, well, we know you, Lucas, from your YouTube videos, and we do not like what you are telling there. So no way you are going to work for our company. This can happen. It's a risk you're taking.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think, same for all of us, right? I think nowadays that we're putting ourselves out so much, and maybe that doesn't fit, but rather know it up front and not end up in a company where it doesn't fit than something else. And I think that can be tough sometimes in the larger organizations, or even, a recruiter in an agency. You want to post content, you want to put things out there, you want to improve your personal brand, but maybe that's not the way that the company normally works. Maybe you want to post something a bit more personal and the company is very corporate minded. And I think it's about trying to find a balance. And I think that it's important to work on your personal brand, because if and when you would change companies, your personal brand is what Katrina said earlier. That's what you're taking with you, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. Good. All right. Stefan, Nick also said, absolutely agree. It's all about the experience with someone, the customer journey, and especially the personal touch. That's
yes.
Absolutely, Stefan. Yeah. I don't know if it's Stefan or Stephen. You never know with the PH or F. So apologies if I pronounced it wrong.
I think in Swiss German it's just Stefan.
Stefan, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No problems. Okay. So this is a good question. We often I'm often asked. I'm sure you are too. People at times don't know where do I start. So let's say I'm a recruiter. I want to develop my personal brand. Till now, I'm not really doing anything other than the things. Let's say the engagements I'm having with people. I want to be more active. What are the first steps? What do I need to get started, do you think?
What I would do, I would first, of course, ask myself. I would maybe just make like a summary of what I've done so far, and then I will also look at role models. So people I really where I really enjoy their content. Where it's not too much, not too less. Where I really feel like I have some value of it. And then, of course, I have to work on myself first, because I have to know who am I. Because what can I do? With what do I feel comfortable with? If I make like a huge plan and I'm gonna say, from now on, I'm gonna post like every day, and I'm gonna make so much content, and I'm thinking about so many colors and so many designs, and then at the end, I'm like actually not this kind of person who can keep up with that, and I'm actually overwhelmed, and I cannot. I'm starting like this whole machinery, but at the end, the people are starting following me and go like, okay, but there is nothing else coming anymore from Katrina. So I first have to figure out what can I do, what is realistic, and what fits my personality. And also I need, of course, some background. I cannot talk about a topic without knowing anything about it. So this is also very important. So and I guess this is for me the most important thing to start with being self-aware.
Why do people get coming back to me? And for me, they were always calling me or sending me emails with their CVs and their Arbeitszeugnisse and stuff, because they wanted a piece of advice. And then I told them like what I was thinking. Like, I'm not saying that I know the truth, but I was just like, maybe you should do a little bit more of this, and you should do a little bit more of that. And I would like rephrase that sentence in your motivational letter and so on. And this kind of worked. And these guys kept on sending me their friends. So their friends came to me, and they were, telling their friends and so on. And then I was like, hey guys, I cannot do this anymore. It's like, it's consuming too much time. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do videos where I will tell it now for the last time. And then I just send you the link, and then you can just... and then you can just click on the play button and watch the video. And this is exactly what I'm going to tell you too. So I did that, and I ended out with like 150 videos.
That's crazy.
And it's not because I have planned it. It really just happened to me. And I think that's also what you said, Katrina. Be aware. Like, it's that awareness of, hey, there's so many people coming to me asking those questions. Maybe I'm not so bad at this. Maybe I should do something out of it.
Why do I want to do this? What do I want to achieve? Because you can't start to think about what kind of activities, content, other things that you would be doing unless you know why you want to do it in the first place. So, my why at the first place comes back to what I said earlier. I wanted to be a positive promoter of recruiters. From there, I started to say, okay, so what can I do to work around that? Of course, I want to also attract candidates, attract clients, and raise awareness of this business that I'm doing. So these were kind of my why. And from that, it's then saying, okay, so in order to do that, I need to lead by example. I need to be the Uber recruiter, or to try to do things that position me like that. I remember when I did 2 years ago, my first video, I was nervous as hell. When I watch it back now, I cringe. The very first live session, I was crapping myself. I was literally like, I took a shot of rum just before the session because I was so nervous, and I didn't want to put myself out there. And then, you know, now I do it on a regular basis. I still get nervous, but I don't need to think about it too much. So I think you also, I don't think you need to overthink it and think, oh, well, it's not for me to put myself out there like that, or I wouldn't enjoy it. I didn't think I would enjoy it. I do the sessions when I do the Swiss recruitment journeys. My guests come off after and say, oh, I'm buzzing. That was so much fun. I want to do it again. You know, I think you don't know until you try stuff, actually, if you enjoy it. So don't assume that you don't enjoy it. But yeah, coming back to it, start with your why. And you know, go from there. And I think that also brings us into the next question as well, about, you know, what content should a recruiter put out? It's something I'm asked often, especially, you know, people sometimes say to me, hey, but you're recruiting recruiters, so it's easy for you to put content out. I'm recruiting IT people, I'm recruiting finance people, you know, I can't put out the same content. I have my opinion about it, but let me hand the word over to you both. What do you think? What content should a recruiter put out?
Ladies first. Okay. Yeah. When I started thinking about content for recruitment, of course, the first thing you think about is job ads, and also making like an update, you know, for your candidates, for your followers, what you are looking for at the moment, but also maybe updates from the business you're working in. If you are like specialized on IT, so you can maybe also follow a little bit what's going on right now in the business. You can share that. You can follow certain companies. You can follow your clients, you know, and you can share also their content that your followers actually can
benefit.
Benefit. Thank you. To have a benefit from your post as well.
Obviously, I create a lot of content, post a lot of things out there. I made one post about going for a walk in the Swiss mountains with a picture, and it had almost 3 times. It's actually my the highest viewed post I have. It's about 90,000 views, and God knows 1,000 likes, and God knows what else. But the point is, I spend so much time and effort creating good, relevant content, and then I just post a picture of me out on a hike, and that far exceeds anything else. Yeah, but yeah, I get it. I think so. To summarize, Katrina, market news, information about what's happening, information on clients. What else, Lucas? What would you say a recruiter should be putting out?
You need both kinds of posts. So I mean, it's nice to have that, you know, that picture of you in the mountains, because it creates reach for you.
Yeah.
But then, what do the people see once you have them, you know, like within your circle? They want to have nice content that's helping them. So I think you need both. So it's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
I would not compare it too much. Yeah. The question, what for me, it should be stuff that's appealing to the people that I want to reach. And as I said before, primarily for me, it's good candidates. For me, that's even more interesting than companies that are paying my bills. For me, it's good candidates, because that's like the resource that I need, and I really want to get to these guys and I want to help them out. And I think this is the most important, but also, of course, the companies as well. So we do with Rockstar, as I said, we do like panels and meetups, and we invite very interesting guests that are interesting for companies who are interested and oriented, you know, like towards tech or in tech. So we try to exactly build like that kind of contact that attracts the right people.
I think my view on it is this, and as I say, I'm often asked this question, but I'm an IT recruiter. I can't put out the same content as you. You need to think in the shoes of your candidates and your clients. What could be valuable content for them? So, for example, if you are a recruiter within IT, some of your content can be about advice around interview techniques. I mean, we are experts in recruitment. We're experts at advising candidates and clients on how to improve processes, how to do well in interviews, how to negotiate things, how to manage that whole recruitment life cycle, right? So it's very easy for a recruiter to put out tips and advice on video interviews, advice for IT people in interview scenarios, lots of different content which is then relevant for that person. You don't have to be an IT expert when you're a recruitment expert. So I think content that adds value to them, that's what Lucas has done, lots of videos around how to manage salary, the salary question, or what if you're above 45, 50 years old, how to discuss and manage if you've been on had a career break or a maternity break, how do you position yourself? What if you've changed too many? Like, there's so many areas where we can, as recruiters, can offer advice and tips and help. And I think that's really good value content to be able to offer to people.
Yes.
So that's one side, and I think the other side is then as you say, market intelligence, news, sharing other information as well. So these are the kind of things that I think can really be very easy to do and add a lot of value to the community.
Yeah, and maybe also, like very rich content, like content that really helps, not bullshit stuff.
Yeah,
not like
definitely.
the 7 points that I can like easily Google in 10 minutes, or that like 147 people before me have said already. And also not like, stuff like, well, it's all about mindset and you have to be mindful. I mean, this is bullshit. Please stop posting this. Thank you.
I think we should have another poll. I think if I see another poll on one of these things, again, polls can be really good, and that's also a good piece of content if it has a relevant thing. Like I reshared one recently. Matt was asking about how you found your job that you have today. Was it through a referral? Was it through a job post? Was it through LinkedIn? And I think that's a really good example of a very simple poll, which actually everyone wants to see the result. And I think the result was more than 40% of people in Switzerland got their job through a referral or their personal network, which is crazy. It's crazy. It shows you how much emphasis you need to put on that. Maybe there's a candidate there who says, okay, perhaps just applying to jobs on that is not enough. I really need to clearly work my network. And
what's the takeaway message? Be nice.
Exactly. Be nice to people. Help each other out. So what about and just to remind you all, this is a live session. We'd love to answer your questions as well. So if you have questions, please post them in the comments. We'll come to them afterwards. And I see actually at the same time a question has even come in. So hold on one second, from Sebastian. How relevant do you guys see Facebook and Twitter for recruitment? His impression is that they're useless. Maybe he's wrong. So let's throw that to our content expert. I have maybe a different opinion, but
well, I can only share my point of view. I 100% agree with Sebastian. They're absolutely worthless, useless crap.
Okay.
I would never do something with recruiting on them. But that's only my point of view because I'm recruiting experts. I mean, if I would, like temporary contracts, like for a restaurant, maybe I would be speaking differently. But I mean, on Twitter, there's only angry people. Do I want angry people? No. On Facebook, there is people posting their holiday pictures. Is that relevant? Is that what I'm looking for? Are there, like the tech experts? I don't think so. Tech experts aren't on Facebook anymore anyway, so why should I be there? So,
but they're probably not on LinkedIn either. Or many of them
not. No,
either.
that's exactly what we talked before. So that's why we're not so super active on LinkedIn. Yeah. We're active within the community in real life. This is where these people are.
I mean, this is the thing. I always say you have to be active where your community is, right?
Yeah.
My community is LinkedIn. That's why I invest so much time, because my candidates and clients spend so much time on LinkedIn, so that's where I can find them. If I was doing IT recruitment, I would spend more time in other areas, other mediums. You have other places like Stack Overflow, GitHub, communities, hackathons. That's where I would be spending my time and investing for content, and especially in real life. But going back to the point about Matt's poll that he did, and 40+% of people get their job through their network or personal connection, surely Facebook could make sense. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe.
In general, that's what I said. Like Facebook. Me personally, I'm not a big fan anymore. But also, I'm already counting myself now to the I'm Generation X. I'm already like, So I think Facebook can be, especially for certain, when you are looking for young people, when you're looking, it's also for what kind of jobs are you recruiting,
Absolutely.
It's like, I don't think that like people who are builders or who work like in maybe also more in the creative works and different jobs. Maybe they are more on Facebook still, Maybe you have all the groups on Facebook, you can join groups, but it's also really cool,
Sorry, guys, I cannot agree. I just took some other thought. I mean, there will always be one company or one recruiter out there in the world who has a success story with Facebook.
Yeah.
And I am 100% sure. Sorry, can't speak anymore. I would really bet on it. It would never work. It worked for one guy in a million, and it's not, like a replic. How you say that? So you cannot repeat it. It's not. I mean, before I would spend time, even as a company, on Facebook and Twitter, I would really, really allocate my resources differently. So I absolutely do not believe in it.
There was. I can't remember who it was, which company. If it was something like Subway or so I think it was some kind of food company who are able to staff their offices across 3 locations. I mean, you hear these romantic stories. I assume they're real, but I guess I think. I think that there is, I think what Katrina said about depends on the area, depends on the niche, depends on the people. I think there is a value there, but I think for professional recruitment, which we're in, which Sebastian's in, I don't think it's going to be the right place personally. So thanks, Sebastian, for the question.
Angry people on LinkedIn like that.
Exactly. So Larissa said that she agrees 100%. But Xing, which really works. I don't know if you both know my post that I played that I posted on LinkedIn about Xing some maybe a month or 2 ago. But I mean, yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I know in Germany, I think it can be a very strong platform. I think. Yeah, I disagree with Larissa, but I'm not a fan of it. I think the usability is very tough. I think it's a lot harder to engage with people. It's much the searching is much clunkier. It's not very easy to use, but. I'm sure, like everything, there's people that can use things and really benefit from them as well. And I'm sure we could as well if it was a bit easier to use. And that's also Sebastian's next question. What extent do you guys invest in Xing when it comes to recruitment? Is it better for DACH talent market? And have we tried the Xing Talent Manager? Have you tried the Xing Talent Manager, you two?
I did, yeah.
What did you think, Lucas?
But it was quite some time ago. Maybe it was like 3 or 4 years ago. I must say that I liked it. And why did I like it? Because the Boolean strings, they worked out very, very nicely. To that time, they were working even better than the ones on LinkedIn. But I mean, that was like 3 or 4 years ago. I cannot say something significant how it is nowadays. So back then, it was a good tool.
Yeah. Okay. I think anyway, it's a little bit off topic because it's going more into kind of searching and things like that, as opposed to producing content. What about producing content and increasing your personal brand on Xing? Do you find it a good platform?
Well, I cannot say because I'm not on Xing anymore. So I really have to forward this question to you guys. Really.
I mean, I duplicate nothing pretty much on Xing. There's a restricted amount of text that you can put in. And it's just not again, it's just not very appealing and usable. But again, maybe I'm too much of a pessimist. Do you post content? Do you push your brand on?
No, I don't use it anymore. But as we had it before, it's depending on where your people are, the people you want to attract. I used to work within the media, within the Swiss German media. So German was, like the main language. So Xing was very useful. It was important as well. Now that changed. It's not so important for me anymore.
Okay. Well, thanks, Sebastian and Larissa, for the questions. If you have more questions, let us know. We're slowly coming to the end of the session, though, so I need to kind of select the last question. I think, which platforms should I use? I think we covered that a bit. Go where your candidates are, go where your clients are. If that's not LinkedIn, don't spend the time on LinkedIn. If it's TikTok because you're appealing to a younger generation, go post on there. It's a fantastic platform. You can do so much, but average age is about 18, I think.
Go outside the door also. I think we have to mention this again. I mean, go outside the door, meet people in real life. Be a brand ambassador for yourself or for your company, whatsoever, outside in real life, talking to people, and not only on the screen, not only think about doing videos, being an influencer. Is Instagram better than TikTok? Should I be on Twitter? First, go out and talk with people. I think that's something very important that we mostly forget. Me too.
Here's a good one for you. How many posts should a recruiter make? And what's spamming? What do you think, Katrina?
If you're beginning, I mean, you can build up your flow. You can post, just once a week. It's already amazing. For some people, this is a lot. Preparing a post and putting something out there. It has to do, of course, with also your personality, what you've done so far. You have to be aware of what also the work that comes with it.
Once a week is tough, by the way. It's depending on what you do. So I did for 1 year 2 videos a week, and I tell you guys, it's crazy. Just find your pace, and maybe, as Katrina said, start with a more low frequency. Maybe do one good quality post a week, maybe all 2 weeks. I'm not a social media expert at all. I'm just talking out of my own experience, and I would not overdo it in any case. And don't put too much pressure on yourself, that you think that you have to post every day and every time, and otherwise you will miss out on an occasion or a potential client or whatsoever. I mean, if you think like that, you're lost.
And also, don't get discouraged. If you put your post out there in the beginning, there's not so much going on. It's normal. It takes a while also, to build that up. You cannot expect your first post to have hundreds of likes. Just keep on trying.
I mean, how many should a recruiter make? It depends on what they want to achieve. It depends on their strategy. There's, you have a lot of different mediums. You have videos, you have a text post, you can post about a job. There's so many different things that you can do. But my definition when it comes to spamming is not about how many posts somebody makes. Personally, it's about the quality of posts that somebody makes. You can post, in theory, 3 times in a day. Right? Let's say you're a recruiter who's new to the business, right? And I would post, the first post is my session with Mark, which is 6 months to success. The advice and session about, how to get the most out of your first 6 months in recruitment. That's a really relevant video for me if I'm a new recruiter, right? And then maybe there is something about sourcing, which comes out the same day, and then maybe even how to build deeper client relationships. I think all 3 videos would potentially be very relevant and very helpful to somebody who's new to the business, and therefore not spam, whether I do that across 3 weeks, 1 day, 3 months, whatever it might be. So I think don't focus too much about how much it is, focus on the quality of the content and that it's relevant for your network of people, because then I don't think it's spamming, it's just sharing great content.
Yeah, it's true. See, the same way. And if you put it up on YouTube, you can still keep in mind that it will be working for you. It will be up there. People who search for that kind of content will find it. The YouTube algorithm will grab it by time. And also display it like to people that could be interested. And it just, as Katrina said, it just needs time. Let time work for you and put out quality content. It's way more important than the frequency. Couldn't agree more, Lee. Yeah, it's true.
Perfect. Okay, so the last question before we finish for lunch, and maybe to sum it up in a few words, what is your winning strategy when it comes to personal brand?
Don't push yourself too hard. If you make mistakes, it's okay. In the beginning, I made so many mistakes, and I'm learning from my mistakes every time.
I'm not so sure about this.
Okay.
But I don't think it applies to everyone. You can also create a persona and go with that one. It doesn't have to be like the 100% Lucas or Katrina or Lee. You can also build a persona that it's very helpful for people and, you know, maybe can be a little bit more funny or outgoing or different or whatever. I think that can help. So not 100% sure.
What is your winning strategy?
What is yours?
Find out what people really want.
I agree with Katrina. How I approach it and what I feel is my part of my winning strategy when it comes to my personal brand. I do believe in being authentic, being who I am. How you see me is how I am in real life, how I am in every moment, and that's what works for me. Definitely about focusing on what people want, and I think don't overthink. But, you know, I remember when I first started posting content, I was constantly looking how many likes, how many comments, you know, what was good, what time of day, you know, looking back at now, I post something, as soon as I post it, it's gone. I'm not even thinking about it somehow anymore. I'm thinking about, you know, the next piece of content that I can share, the next kind of value add that I can bring, because once it's out there, it's out there. And as you say, YouTube, it will do its thing. LinkedIn, it will do its thing. So for me, it's about being authentic. It's about trying to add value and give back to people, and basically not overthinking the amount of likes, these kind of things. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. As I say, the 80 was a personal post. I didn't even put any thought into it. It was just I wanted to share something, and that was my most successful post. So don't overthink it. Just put the content out, do it with the right intention, make sure it's good quality. The rest will come into place. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Katrina, for joining us for this episode.
Thank you for having me.
It wasn't that painful, hopefully.
Great having you on here, Katrina.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thank
for
you
taking the time, Lucas. Lucas, thanks as always as well, and thank you to everybody for watching, for asking the questions, for liking, for sharing. You will see us back soon for the Ask a Recruiter series. Fantastic weekend. Thanks again, especially to you two for joining in on the show.